Hi, I'm Tyson with Adventure Rig, and it is full-on winter outside. That's why we're in the garage today. Now, Callie and I recently got back from Central America on our KTM 890 Adventure and the KTM 790 Adventure bikes. Prior to going, we did quite a few upgrades to these bikes. Now, a couple of those upgrades that we did were from Rottweiler Performance, specifically the fuel line conversion kit that you can see right here, as well as the fuel pump guard. Now, we did these for a couple different reasons. The fuel pump guard was something that we felt was a little bit of a weak spot on the 890 and the 790 Adventure bikes. It sits down here at the bottom, and this is an aftermarket skid plate that we put on from Black Dog, and it does not protect the fuel pump. Also, the stock guards that come on the KTM, those are just plastic, and they go from the fuel tank and connect to the skid plate. Now, this is going to be the case for the aftermarket skid plate that we have on it, as well as the stock skid plate. That's just a plastic piece that's trying to protect all that. With my riding ability, there's no doubt that I can easily find a boulder that I would hit down there, and it would break through the plastic that's stock and easily damage the fuel pump that's just hanging down there in space. With that fuel pump guard, it completely encases the front as well as the sides of the fuel pump so that you're not going to sustain any damage if you find that you're going to be hitting some pretty large rocks. We decided to do the fuel line conversion as well because they kind of go hand in hand. I think that they complement each other really well, but with the fuel line conversion kit, we also opted to do this 10 micron fuel filter with it. I had a little bit of some fear buying fuel out of someone's garage in a small village that doesn't actually have a gas station and getting contaminants in it. So with that 10 micron filter, that's going to prevent anything getting through and clogging injectors, because at that point, I'm screwed. That's going to be a big job to try to fix. You can see that this fuel line has this sheathing around it. This is going to protect it from both abrasion as well as heat, and both fuel lines do have it. Now, with the fuel tank off, you can see that on the bottom of the pump, I have this connector right here. This connector plugs directly into the bottom of the fuel line right here. This is really nice because the stock way that you would do this on the KTM is you have this really rickety plastic piece right here. It's not easy to get to, and it's a little clip that you pop up. Once you pop that up, you can pull this entire piece, this elbow, out from the frame. At that point, if you need to remove the fuel tank, you try to hold that out while picking up the fuel tank, and it's a pretty cumbersome job. Most of the time, it ends up getting stuck back there, or when you're putting the fuel tank on, it tends to get stuck on top of the frame, and you're trying to fight that the entire time. Now, once you get the fuel tank back on, you're trying to plug this little rickety plastic piece in. My fear is that in the middle of nowhere, if you have to remove the tank, that's going to be the time that that plastic piece breaks. Well, with the conversion kit, that eliminates that. You leave that plugged in the whole time, and now the point that you unplug, again, is down here at the bottom. It's this guy right here. Also, it is really nice when you unplug it. It drips just a little bit of fuel, but everything is contained right there. So both the fuel tank and the fuel line on the bike, you don't have a ton of fuel pouring out of it. One last thing to mention is the install. By far the most time-consuming part of all of it is getting the tank off of the motorcycle. Once that's off, you're literally just installing this line onto the end of the fitting, and then there's a nice bracket down here that goes into a stock bolt that's already on your motorcycle. You just remove the bolt, put on the bracket, put the bolt right back into it. As far as the fuel pump guard goes, you're going to remove the stock bolts that are in there, and then he provides bolts with thread locker already on them, and you're going to simply put the fuel pump guard over the fuel pump and put on the bolts that he's sent. It is a very easy install, and again, it just makes everything go lickety-split if you need to remove that tank. If you are curious about any of these other aftermarket parts that we've installed on the bike, head over to our website, adventurerig.com, and just click on the Motorcycles tab. We have reviewed all of this other stuff. Specifically from Rottweiler, the aero mirrors, the tail tidy, this amazing air box. It's all on there. So head over there and check it out if you're interested. If you guys have any questions about the fuel conversion kit or the fuel pump guard or anything for that matter, just leave them in the comments section below and we will get back to you. Also, if you're wondering where we are or what we're up to, check us out on Facebook and Instagram at Adventure Rig. If you've enjoyed this video and you found it helpful, please give it a thumbs up as well as subscribe. Thanks again for watching. I'm Tyson with Adventure Rig.